there any further discussion on the 2014-15 school year? If none, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion, need a second.
I'll second it. I mean, I don't like starting school on August the 7th, but I'll second it. That's it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Because
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on school nurse program services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Larry and I have is it tomorrow, Larry?
Yes, sir.
For the health department meeting with their board as well. The number that was given to us is $169,264 they're asking us, and that supports the nursing. Now, within that number, and I do have the data over here that was provided by the health department, it includes indirect costs as well, and which is about half of that $169,000. I recommend to the board that we allow the health department to share with us what they can provide and how they can support our school nursing program, since they're doing it now. If they're going to change it, they need to change it, and we'll respond in kind. We'll respond to however they want to change it. But as it stands right now, they are supporting the nurses. 4 nurses, I believe, is that right, Larry?
Yes.
4 nurses in our schools. The only school that does not get nursing services, support direct services, is high school. All the others, middle school and the 3 elementary schools, receive nursing support services. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I would propose that I told the health department that I would bring it to the table, bring before the board, unless you're going to approve $169,000, which our budget cannot support for the nursing support services for school year 14 and 15. I would recommend that we go to we'll go to the board tomorrow and see how they're going to adjust their budgets to see if we can continue supporting the nurses.
is there, in case we can't work with them, is there any other avenue that we can take towards nurses?
Steve, what's Steve's last name? Ward. Steve Ward had shared with me, and I think in one of the meetings that Larry and I attended, that there may be some possibilities of grants out there for those nursing services. But I will say that there's every other district is looking for those grants as well. What we can't do is go without the nursing support. There's too many requirements upon our schools, our teachers, bus drivers, for kids with special needs, that some require injections, or they're diabetic, or what's some other categories, Dina? I mean, allergies.
Mostly it's allergies. Some that have seizure disorders, and in case they have a seizure at school, they keep medication there. That's the two.
And also, it's a culture shift. Parents are accustomed to having health service support on site, and not to have that. And Steve has given us the numbers basically on what the presentation, or the number of students that go to see the nurse, the category of why they're going to see the nurse, which is the reimbursement. That's what's hurting them. It's catching up with them because of the reimbursement in Medicaid billing. But it doesn't necessarily need action tonight, other than it's the discussion of that. Larry and I will attend the health board meeting tomorrow, and I'll report back to the board about what their proposals are going to be.
So we can't borrow the prison's nurse?
Well, they got 3 dentists and a few nurses up there, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, if you get injured up there, you got Scott's orthopedic thing.
Yes.
You get that.
We're just hoping to.
You injured yourself playing ball. I mean, that's something. I mean, that's just, yeah, the system's screwed up. I mean, it's really screwed up.
Okay. We'll move to the next item on the agenda. It's a discussion of possible action on a contract between Martin County Board of Education and Jenny Wiley State Park for prom 2014.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was a copy was in your packet, and Dr. Fletcher's here tonight. If you have any questions, this is for the prom. Is that correct? This is Jenny Wiley State Park, and it is a lease contract agreement with Jenny Wiley State Park. So therefore, it is a Martin County school district function.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
That's at the
So-
Steamboat Center. Is that correct?
So it's Cocosine.
Temple May Lodge.
You need to check with Cocosine Public Relations, see if they pick up the expenses.
What's that, sir?
I said, do we check with Cocosine and see if the Public Relations,
No.
see if they pick up the expense?
We actually,
What's going to be our thing, the blast this year?
prom long as it lasts.
But if you have any questions, Dr. Fletcher would be happy to answer
So
those.
it will
for
be,
you.
it is a school-sponsored event,
Yes, sir.
and all the restrictions and everything.
Yes. We will be there, we're also trying to talk to them about having a grand march at the amphitheater and back so the kids can walk across stage. So we are trying to do some things. I know the other schools have that opportunity, so we're hoping to get that opportunity also. Our biggest cost is going to be with the food more than likely, and that was part of the deal. They had to cater it. But on the other hand, the seniors, we allowed the seniors to vote different options that we wanted to try, and the seniors went with they wanted to go to Jenny Lodge. So I thought the least we could do is try to help them out anyway. They wanted to make it a little bit special.
What night is that on?
May 10th.
10th. So board members, if you want to come out, see the walkthroughs and walkouts and walk across, that's the evening before you see up Jenny Wellness State Park.
Is there any further discussion on the contract for that? Not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on agreement between Martin County Board of Education and CJ the DJ for project graduation.
Again, this is for the high school. It's not, it's Mr. Harless. He's CJ the DJ. But anyhow,
Is
Dr.
that-
Fletcher, hi.
Is that who they want? or-
But do they want,
Is that who they want?
yeah, that's who they use. That's who they want to
Yeah,
contact
and
with.
there was, I take responsibility. This is a little bit of miscommunication. I need to get you guys a contract also for the DJ for prom. That we can have it for the next board meeting. But CJ's done the project graduation for years. He comes in, they do karaoke, things like that. He's a good fellow, and he's a good friend of Thelma's. So we've always used CJ. We do need to have that approved with your permission.
Well, now, do you want to, because this is a regular board meeting, I mean, we can change that now. Do you have the contract for the
I
prom
do
as
not have it
well?
with me, no, sir.
I mean,
I do have a contract for the one for prom also.
Okay.
And, I don't.
Same vendor.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a different vendor. It is a teacher, a group of teachers actually, not from here, but from a different county. And those are
I thought it was the same.
No, sir.
We'll get it later.
I need a motion to approve CJ the DJ.
I'll make a motion.
A motion, need a second.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion of possible action between Martin County Board of Education and Milton Pond Care Center to use Warfield Elementary for summer camp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That contract is in your packet. It is from July the 7th to the 10th. And that is Dr. Mills from Mountain Comp running that summer camp at Warfield Elementary. We also have a service project over at
Yeah, they're in
Warfield
now.
this summer.
Are they in now? Or they're coming in?
No, they won't be until after the end of the school year. But they've communicated, corresponded, and there would be no interference with this summer camp.
Is this a renewal contract?
It's for the use of the facility or something.
Okay. Any further discussion? No, and I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, need a second.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is discussion and possible action on non-resident pupil contract with Lawrence County Schools.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's also, I think we have signed all of them. Is this the last one? I think Craig already took off.
It is the last one.
This is the last one. The reason why Lawrence County was the last one and it's separate from the others that we've already put forth to the board was because, and we've discussed this, was the one-to-one. We have about 35 of theirs, and they have 4 or 5 of ours. So they're trying to make an adjustment there and reconcile. But they're grandfathering all those that are in the document and any siblings. So I would recommend approval of it.
Further discussion on that? No, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion, need a second.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. New business.
No, sir, I just have a point of discussion on the summer camp. Marcy is providing the summer feeding program over there, so I just wanted to share that with the board. She does a tremendous job, of course, as well as everyone, but for the summer feeding program. She's really doing a good thing for the community.
Next item on the agenda is reports, administrative staff reports, summer feeding program.
I guess I'm just asking permission to run the summer feeding program again this year. 2013 was a successful year. We fed nearly 5,000 meals, 23 sites. Our central site is at Sheldon Park High School. We're looking to add sites this year, hopefully maybe a mobile site during the summer.
I don't think it requires an approval, does it? Does it require approval? Please, do it. It does?
We always have, it's always been
Okay.
on there in the past for the board to
All right.
approve for us to operate summer feeding.
Marcy and I met with, on that summer feeding issue, we met with RAMP. Would you like to tell us what that stands for? What's the RAMP? The Rockin' Thank you. All right. There was a group of them that came in today and met with us. We are interested in the bus that's parked out in front of the Collier
Partridge
Center.
family bus?
Hmm?
The Partridge family bus?
Yes, and we're taking it on the road. But we're trying to negotiate the use of that. It's all about the maintenance of the bus, the liabilities. So they left here, the next step is to determine if their carrier will, how we need to reconcile or negotiate that we are going to assume the liability of fueling it, providing a driver for it, maintenance, whether it's oil changes, tires, whatever it may be, take care of that bus. So we don't know what that relationship is going to look like yet, but we all agree that it's going to be what's best for our community, best for students, rather than sitting up there as a static display, that we're going to be able to make this happen. So as soon as that does, I'll include that on the email, bring it back before the board. But if you have not seen that bus, I just get excited thinking about it, because if that thing pulled up in front of my house when I was 10 years old, I mean, I'd be doing cartwheels all the way to it. I was just ecstatic when the bookmobile pulled up. This bus has Wi-Fi. It's got Wi-Fi on this bus. We can take it anywhere in the county, and it's going to be able to pick up Wi-Fi with a good probability, high probability of it. It has multiple hookups for whether it's power hookups. It's got its self-contained generator. We can hook up the laptops, Kindle Fires, iPads, iPods, whatever's necessary. It has a self-contained library center. It's all like it's like seated cushions, reading material there, and in the back it also has a
sink area.
It was designed for vegetable growing to teach kids how to raise gardens,
To do
gardening projects, flowering projects. It's an incredible piece or a resource for our district. And so we're going to do everything we possibly can to get that thing mobilized, and along with the summer feeding program. So as we go throughout the community and stop and we are providing nutritional services in our community, whether it's a vacation Bible school or whether it's a summer camp or ASP, whatever it is, that we're going to be able to take this mobile classroom to the same location and really just make an event of it. I'm really excited about it. So I think I'm going to get my CDLs. Roger, what about you, buddy?
Sounds great. Sounds great.
I'm sorry, I didn't know anybody. You were back. I was only kidding. But it is exciting, and I can't wait. If you haven't seen the bus, the further we go down and making this thing happen, we'll get that bus up here and you can take a look at it. It's truly exciting. I mean, as a kid's going to love that. Getting on that. I just can't believe it's been set for a couple of years.
Well, it looks interesting outside. I mean,
it's you're gonna be able to notice that.
yeah, if I'd have pulled up like at my house back when I was younger, my two younger sisters looked for David Cassidy.
So apparently it does.
Need a motion to approve the summer feeding program.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, need a second.
I'll take it.
Motion second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, Martin County Education Association reports. School reports.
Yes, we do have some school reports. Dr. Fletcher and Ms. Williams are here to address the board on college and career readiness.
did receive part of their college or career readiness information. Their work keys, of course, is their academic component for career readiness. I was hoping we would receive our Kentucky Occupational Skills Standard Assessment results. They were the 16th Wednesday, so they did not come early. I can give you a better picture at that time. But I do have a few slides that these are just the legend for to give you some indication. This was the best first-time score that we have ever achieved. And I feel really good about this considering it has been such a off year and really we didn't get a lot of prep time. Our biggest focus was on COSA, the technical component, not really work keys, which is our academic component. So I was very pleased with the overall results. Carolyn. Okay, if you'll notice, this is a comparison between, and you have this on your chart, between 2013 and 2014. Our first time tests, we had 61% last year that were successful and received the National Career Readiness Certificate. This year we had 7. So I was very, very pleased about that. You can see the comparison is silver. We actually had more achieved gold this year. And so I was really pleased with that, with our overall percentages. And in regard to our work-ready community, this is just a comparison for the different levels. In math, locating information, you have that there. Statewide, locating information is usually the areas the kids score lowest on. And if you'll notice, we didn't have any score platinum in this area. I did have one student that was 3 points away. He had platinum in the other 2 areas. Statewide, last year there were only 2 students, so we actually are going to retest him. We will probably be retesting, I would say, 12 to 15 students that was 1 point away in one area. In order to achieve the certificate, they have to score at least a level 4, and on the back you have a scaled score that gives you an idea of the percentage. A 4 level is about at a 75. So they have to score that all the way across on all 3 assessments, the locating the information, the applied math, and the reading. So you'll see our students did very well in math, they did very well in reading. Locating information was the lower score, but that's just consistent with statewide. And then finally, in regard to our work-ready community, that prior to receiving the results, we had 295 individuals in Martin County between the age of 18 and 64 that does possess a National Career Readiness Certificate. That was 3.38%. We added an additional 69 with the ACT in the high school, so that gave us 364. So now we're up to 7.9%. Our goal actually in 3 years is only 9%, in 5 years is 15%. So we're well on our way to that, so I felt really good about that. Any questions? Thank you. Next time, and actually we were able to add with the academic component, and some already had industry certifications, we were able to add 11 additional career-ready students. So hopefully with COSA this week, I'm looking at a minimum of 30 more. Hopefully it'll be higher.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you. One of the things that really appreciate, Martha, and we all kind of go hand in hand with our college and career readiness. One of the things that we've talked about several times, that the new accountability model to include career readiness with the college ready is the way to go. It really helps us out from Martin County, and it really benefits our kids. First of all, I want to apologize to Mr. Meadows and board members. Our newsletter was just off the press today, and there's also a handout there. Marcy, as you guys know, wears many hats, and she's in charge of my newsletter. And I was just thankful she got it. She did have it completed on Friday late, and she didn't want to give it to me until she had time to touch it up this weekend, so I got this today. The first thing you'll see on the front of the newsletter is we took our students that are college ready and career ready at this point, and we want to give them a little bit of reward. Just take them out and let's say, okay, let's put you on a college campus and see what it looks like. So that just kind of gives you an intro to the newsletter. One of the things that Mr. Meadows asked me to present to the board is we took our test for ACT this year on March 18th. That was the makeup day because we were snowed out, believe it or not, on the original test date. And I had to ask Lisa because I was worried about whether or not the information was embargoed, but it is not embargoed. We don't have an official report from the state yet, so this is just me and some of the data people putting together a spreadsheet and doing averages. If you look at our ACT from last year, the juniors for 2013 compared to this year's juniors 2014, we have an increase in our English ACT score the average from a 15.3 to a 16.7. Our mathematics went from a 16.8 to a 17.4. Our reading went from a 17.2 to an 18.3. And our science went from 17.7 to 19. Our composite right now has gone from a 16.9 to an 18.
Folks, you just don't move a point, Nate.
I also want to, there's a disclaimer there. We still have 5 students that have to take it, and those 5 students could make it go up 0.4 points or could make it drop 0.4 points. So even if it did drop 0.4 points, it's still the highest scores in school history. I expect, in all honesty, I think we'll finish up with about 17.8, 17.9 maybe. But anyway, that class goal was an 18. They set that for themselves. And at first I started off with 17.5 and they said that's not high enough, Mr. Fletcher. So they did set a goal of 18, very proud of them. And just kind of let you guys see where does that put us as far as our, this data at the bottom, that's solid for right now. It could go up, it won't go down. We have 48 students that are college ready in English. And notice it has the lowest average, but the benchmark for English is an 18. It also has the lowest benchmark. So there's 48 students that we have that met English. We have 28 students that are college ready in math. And the ACT benchmark there is 19. 38 students that are college ready in reading, and that's the highest benchmark is 20. So if you look at our reading score of 18.3, we're very proud of that. The kids are doing a phenomenal job. So far, I think Ms. Kirk, Mr. Meadows has already, if you look at our dashboard, we've increased the junior level class by 23 students. Just to kind of let you know where that was compared to last year. At this time last year, we have around 21% of our students this year that are college ready completely. Last year, I think at this point, we were somewhere around 16-17%. Some of the things to kind of attribute that to, I really like the district move to standards-based grading. If you heard Ms. Williams talk about retaking the work keys, well, technically the kids can retake the ACT. They can retake a lot of these tests. I mean, of course, they have to pay for it when they retake it. But standards-based grading, we try to look at it as instead of retaking, we're trying to get away from retake to a second learning opportunity. Because would you rather have a kid come in that has taken a biology test for a second time on a particular content area that mastered it the second time, as opposed to somebody that took it the first time and didn't have a second opportunity to go and take that in-course test. One of the things I don't think that a lot of people realize is we've met AYP for 3 straight years with the help of the ATC and all the staff, but 1 year didn't count. In order for us to come out of the PLA status, we had to meet it also this year. So all these days that we missed, it's going to be very difficult. So, but all of our data shows that it looks like we're going to hit it. So if we miss it, I'll be surprised. I'll go on record saying I'll be surprised. But either way, if you look at this, some of the things I attribute that to is standards-based grading. Our red zone this year was, we started off the first half of the year with an ACT focus. We've also sent 4 teachers to training with Princeton Review. We've had 35 students to volunteer 13 days after school, 4 hours each to come in and on their own time to come in and do a Princeton Review course. It's much like Kaplan, where they come in and do that. They take 4 practice tests. So we've had a lot of kids put in that extra time, of their own, to come in and do those type of things. So overall, I think that the focus, when we say be ready, it's the cardinal rule. We have more kids talking about ACT. We have more kids talking about it, and we have more kids that were juniors that already taken the ACT before they even took this test. So I think last year, one of the things that was a huge red flag, I think we had 12 kids that had taken the ACT as a sophomore before they took it, and this year we were over 20. So we were very pleased with that. So there's a lot of things to attribute that to it, and most importantly, it's been the staff of both the ATC and the high school that's really focused in on students and targeted what they need and try to meet those needs. Any questions for me?
Good job. You got a school report?
I didn't come prepared.
Yeah, no. I'm going to put him on the spot. He didn't expect that, but tell us about your Florida trip. Yeah, I mean, it's not just a Florida trip, but your professional. It was 10 below zero in Martin County, and he was hesitant about going to Florida. But anyhow, share with us why you went and what
It's kind of like one of those going to church moments when you feel like the preacher's going to call on you. I kind of had this feeling you were going to do that. But I did come prepared. The last meeting had my folder and all your handouts, and obviously this time they're over there laying on my desk. This time was I thought I'd slide by. But I went to Florida, was invited, and I was one of 13 out of 57 principals that was invited to the CT4GC, and that is closing, co-teaching for gap closure. And they are using those 13 principals. The only other one that any of you would be familiar with would be the principal from Lawrence County. And him and I have spoken many times, but they're using us as kind of a pilot group throughout the state that when we go, we're supposed to go back in July, not to Florida, but we're supposed to go back in July to Lexington, and they're actually, I got a call just actually yesterday wanting us to present some of the things that we are doing with the initiative. The initiative is all about a continuous model of improvement. That's where CT4GC is Kentucky's term. They've kind of grabbed a hold of it with the whole unbridled learning process, and that's their name for it throughout the state of Kentucky. And we right now have we actually have 3 different groups in our building. There is a total of 6 teachers, both one at 6th grade, one at 7th grade, and one at 8th grade, who are actually piloting. And they've kind of given us the window of doing it almost like the first year all over again, because the people that we had that was piloting it at Warfield Middle School and at Inez Middle School kind of dispersed at other places, so we had to make all new groups. So we came together at Florida. Was probably one of the best, not just because it was at Florida, but one of the best conferences that I've ever been at, being able to really show us what they're doing with PDSAs, what they're doing with one of the big pushes student notebooks, and them collecting their own data. Instead of the teachers collecting their data, instead of you having a data room, you're creating notebooks, and the students are in charge of their learning, meaning they know what they know, but they also know what they need to know, and they know the things that they don't know just yet, but they're supposed to know. And it's all based upon student data notebook. And that's going to be one of the first things that we establish at the beginning of next year. But I did learn one thing. It is much easier to sit in a conference in Lexington or Louisville than it is to sit in one at Florida as you look out the window and see the beautiful sun shining. But that's going to be one of our plates that we just really try to fill up next year, is pushing the CT4GC, and it's all about gap closure, taking those kids that aren't meeting the benchmarks and really trying to push them through using the different supports that CT4GC offers for you, and that's just easier to say than all the other. But it was a remarkable experience. And like I said, I had handouts for you, but that's all right. I wasn't going to say anything. That was okay for me to slide by. But nonetheless, we're excited about where it's going. I know Lisa and Dina both have been in my building, observing, going through it. We're at different levels with it. Some of the teachers are stronger than the others, but we were afforded the opportunity for the first time to send each of them by the State Department. They allowed us to send. We've been sending them in segments. These 2 would go to this training, then you'd have another 2 go to this training, and we were given the opportunity to send them all together so they can network at the same time and bounce their ideas off of one another. And that was a very, very valuable experience for them. We look forward to what it's going to offer next year with it as well. So it's a great experience, great experience.
Thank you, sir.
Next item on the agenda is approval enter into closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810C litigation.
Can I make a comment before we leave?
Yes.
I'd just like to commend Frankie on the Coach of the Year. I've been there, I've coached, and of course, you didn't mention, I guess, we had 3 kids, one girl on the WAMT All-Mountain team, of course, Bill, and I know how hard Larry and how many miles they travel. And of course, Dylan's on the second team, WAMT. I saw that. So we're just very proud of those kids and proud of the job that Frankie does, and expect you to go to the state tournament next year. And hope you'll take me with you. And, but I was always a Robert Kennedy and John F. Kennedy. They were my heroes, and we talk about dreams. And I always remember, some people dream dreams, as they said, and say why. But our kids and hopefully our teachers and our coaches dream dreams and say why not. So of course, when I was coaching baseball, let's throw this in, I was called in by a superintendent, and of course my kids, we raised a considerable amount of money. He said you can't run a major league program at the high school level. Of course, I was kind of brash then, and I said, why not? So, but anyway, I appreciate everything you guys do, and I'm proud of those kids. And I just thought I think Emily Waller was the girl that was on the WMT All-Mountain team. So, I don't know if I missed anybody or not, but you do a great job. Sorry about that.
And I'm thankful for Frankie too. I mean, he went to Williamson when I was at Logan. Yeah, we share about all that, the rivalry and stuff like that. But he's at Tug Valley and stuff like that. He's a winner. He's a fighter. I like it.
Before you go to closed session, I want it brought to the attention that how does the board feel about coaches or teachers not being there when they call for practice? When they want to have practice, the Raiders, they called for practice about a week ago, and there was no teacher there.
Sergeant D'Amato told the Raiders commander to have practice, and I remember it because I was there that day. And Sergeant D'Amato informed Larry, which was the Raiders commander, that he wanted to practice. And by where he's a teacher, he is supposed to be there for liability reasons. Because if anything happens to any one of the kids, then it comes back to the school, and bad things can happen, like lawsuits or anything, because there was no appointed teacher there. There was
So this is the first I've heard of this. It's the first I've heard of it too. And I would say the first place that you would need to go with that, with a student or parent or teacher or anyone else, needs to go to your building principal. So I would ask that you talk with Mr. Fletcher immediately afterwards here and let him get all that information, and certainly we'll address that. But I think I can speak for the board in saying that when our students get together, we expect there to be supervision available.
All right, we need a motion to enter into closed session.
Can I brag on somebody?
You're gonna brag?
We got away from bragging. Didn't we used to brag all the time? Can I brag for just 1 minute? I like to brag. Well, he already got the whole share there. He don't need no more. His boss said no more. So I just wanted to real quick brag on the elementary schools, all 3 elementary schools. They allowed Operation Unite to come in and do a couple of exercises to help kind of with the drug prevention program in their schools. And the principals and the teachers, they all worked really, really hard with us to get all the children into the program. And we plan on coming back next month to have it on a continuous basis with the schools. So we actually talked to over 100 and something school kids in each school. So it was a great success, and I think the kids really learned a lot. And they came back and talked afterwards, about some questions that they had. So I wanted to brag about the principals and the teachers and the staff and the students, of course. Thank you.
Well, while we're bragging, In your newsletter from me, there's some pictures of our autism awareness events, and I think most of you all know that exceptional children are near and dear to my heart. And throughout the district on April 2nd and even throughout that week, our schools all participated in autism awareness, and from preschool through high school, including extracurricular teams. I believe in your newsletter there's even a picture of the Martin County Middle School volleyball team, and they all had on their autism awareness shirts. So I just want to thank all the principals and staff and students and everyone that participated in that. They did a great job.
Motion to enter into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, need a second.
I'll second.
Motion second, all in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.